Imagine that you're working on a wind farm on the ocean, and whereby you are able to work with smart paint. That smart paint is able to identify the density on the windmill and to call out when there is a problem. Imagine that you then also are able to send out a drone to that specific location, and it starts scanning the windmill and finds a spot where the problem or the density problem, the quality issue, is happening. And at that point in time, the drone is able to instantly code that particular location to make sure that that spot is brought back to the quality what it is. Welcome at Digital at AkzoNobel. This is what we are doing and what is becoming reality in how we are servicing our customers and what we're trying to do in there. But first, I'm going to tell you on who AkzoNobel is. AkzoNobel is a global paint and coatings company. We serve many customers with a whole variety of different of our products, and several of you guys know those products already. Think of Sikkens, think of Flexa in the Netherlands, think of Deluxe, but also more international coating products as Interpon or as international in that sense. We operate on a geographical level of which 50% of our revenue is coming from emerging markets. So we are well balanced across the globe. And with that, we're targeting our customers, but we're targeting our customers through the way of a wide set of our segments. So we're targeting segment specific. And several of you probably will see or heard of is we're targeting marine, but also automotive, aerospace, powder coatings, and also in the more decorative paints. When you walk into a shop, as in a gamma, you will see your products. The way we're serving these products and how we are engaging with our B2B customers is we operate through our go-to-market models. And we have specific go-to-market models for our segments. And with that is we have 6, and through that we're targeting specifically our customer journey in order to make and to deliver the customer needs that our customers have. And how we're delivering that from an internal point of view is that we do that through process towers. We have about 13 process towers across our organization that are really engaged and gated to support our business units. And as you probably have seen in a little bit before, we have 8 business units, 4 focusing on paints, which is our decorative section, and 4 focused on coatings, which is a lot where is our B2B happening as well. But what is the role within digital in here? What we see is that our customers are gearing up to move into the digital vortex. They're starting, and what I mean with the vortex is they're getting pulled into it because they're starting to operate more efficient through using digital capabilities. They're starting to unlock opportunities that digital gives to them as well. And we see that through trends and through COVID as well, for example. We see customers moving buying online paint. We're starting to see customers to want to know where their paint is. The moment that it leaves our factories, the moment that it's basically arriving on its doorstep. But we also start seeing that our customers are actually demanding that personal connection and that personal attention to them. So they want to increase the ease of doing business with them on their terms. We're also starting to see that manufacturing are starting to explore new business models and that we need to engage to that. And we're actually starting to see as well new paint organizations that are truly online, so they're born online, that are starting to disrupt the markets as well. And they're starting to come still small in terms of percentage, but they're growing very rapidly because customers are actually starting to engage on that platform as well. So one thing for sure what we see is that in our paints and coatings industry, Digital is at the tipping point, and digital transformation is actually here to stay. What are we doing on that from a AkzoNobel point of view, and how are we bringing that B2B experience in there? Well, our aim is to deliver a memorable customer experience at scale so that customers can focus on what matters most to them. And I often translate that they want to do business with us because they want to, not because they have to. And the way we are approaching that is we're addressing that through our challenge. So I'll explain a little bit about challenge, the way of our mission on how we're trying to address that, and a fundamental belief that sits beneath that. Now in our challenge, we're looking at two sets of challenge in there. We have an external challenge where Akzo increasingly need to be resilient to a VUCA world. And what I mean with a VUCA world is it's volatile, it's uncertain, it's complex, and it's ambiguous. In terms of more internal view is we are in a very traditional organization where we need to nurture our digital maturity and to enable a true business transformation. That's the challenge that we face. How are we trying to address this? Through our mission in there, and that is basically orchestrating a seamless and personalized interactions towards our customers by collaborating across our digital value chain. And I will focus a little bit later on a digital value chain. But we do that with our fundamental belief. And that belief is that a digital transformation is not just about more and more sexy technology. It involves around culture, people, process, structure and organization to really try to address as well. And how are we trying to address this? Is via our digital diamond layer, the diamond layer that starts with our customer experience to really focus on what the customer needs are within their journey. Translating that to the strategy on what we need to do in order to address that. Based on that, we are then are developing our digital portfolio that is then not only, and the digital portfolio is focusing on the layers that sits below it. So we're not only focusing on the technology, we also need to make sure that we embed it within the organization and that we actually have the organization, the right skills and skill set and mindset in the organization set up as well. We have that also looked at from our measurement point of view. So how do we measure basically that we are on the right track? How do we have our business processes set up and the data set for that? And then, of course, that is all underlined and built up from a foundation from a technology point of view. But also, our digital customer experience is focused on our customer journey. And that customer journey, also within AkzoNobel, over the recent years has starting to speed up. And what you see in here is that, especially also with COVID hitting, and even before that, there were digital initiatives coming in there. And what you heard in the earlier story of one of the Adobe people was mentioning that digital transformation has started. And what you see in here as well, and what is also where AkzoNobel is facing with, is that a lot of things are happening already at multiple plates. But what you see in here as well is that also from a B2B point of view, that customer journey with so many touch points in place and so many areas is starting to get disjointed. So we're now at the position also to start bringing back in on how do we really connect that customer journey. Because what we see through customer satisfaction surveys is we are really well in inspiring. We can inspire the customer. But if we don't take in a consistent manner throughout that customer journey, customers will disconnect and will break out of the journey. And what you see in here is the more we go down into a funnel, the lower they score on this. So this is what we're also trying to address through the touch points that we have. So what you see in the touch points that we have in here is we're starting to address them now, and we're starting to optimize from our legacy point of view. But what I'm trying to show you here as well is that what we're trying to address is not only from a technology, also addressing our process organization in there. And the process organization that you see in here is, if you remember the 13 process towers that I showed you in the beginning, is actually showing here as well that in every touch point we have, there is a minimum of 4 process organization that we need to actually align, link up, connect, and bring them together. Because if one of the data points that we heard in the beginning in there is disconnected, that automatically comes into a knock-on effect to our customer. You really show that onto the customer touch points. And that actually disconnects and breaks the journey in there. So coming back to my story, I'm now on the same page, is that the customer journey and the internal organization needs to start connecting together. So we're bringing the outside in view back into the inside out. So we're trying to connect that across the organization from a people, process, technology, and information point of view. But we have also learning coming back in. And the learnings that we actually got already on this is the fact that, one, if to do this, in order to transform at scale, we start with pilots. So we started small with reaching out to our to really test the waters and really piloting this accordingly. We're also looking this integral across the whole journey. So as I mentioned, our thinking method is, it's not only on the technology, it's on the people, process and organization, and really work through integral what that specifically means. The other learnings that we see is digital transformation takes time, specifically when you are in there with a very diverse landscape, a lot of legacies. So we're also looking at in there. But there's also a lot of good news around it. We see things already moving. Our reach to our digital community is growing rapidly. We're starting to able to connect unknown customers to known customers. And what I mean with that, unknown prospect to known prospect to lead, and really track them through. And that's also to the use of Adobe, what we have put in.